Matthias.htm from Germany. They both are well experienced players. Excuse me again, the live Othello board is not agree with the actual board image. There's a technical problem. But anyway, the game is going on. This is white turn. And this is the black turn. And black has a favorable move at b6. And white considers to make two moves on the zero, g3 and z4. So white played g3 first, leaving the d4 square open. And black may erase the white's z4 by moving f1, or otherwise black can take an option to take z4 move straightforward and to erase the white g4. Another thing is black g4 will enable black to play to c7 afterwards. This is another point that white must consider. And I can come up with black's another option to move h3, leaving g4 square, leave it open, and let the white to move z4. Black h3, white z4, afterwards black h4. It may work as well. So there are some options for black at this point. That's why black takes some time to consider all those moves.
Oké, welkom. Je valt aan aan in iedereen naar partij, want schijnbaar werkt het uitsluitend. We kijken naar Niki tegen Vroma. En nou, we zijn in het middenspel. Vroma heeft het eerst aardig in het midden van het bord, wat dat betekent. Beeld relatief veel is. 17 tegen 8 van Niki. Dus we gaan zien. Het staat voor beiden een...
So now the rival solo board agrees with the actual board position. So I'd refer to the coordinate by using the live oscillable from now on. So G4 I used to mention is now D2. It's a bit confusing, I'm sorry.
Iets in een ander bord alsof live oscillable terminates onder. Dus als ik het heb over D3 en D3 live oscillable.
I would say it's difficult to tell which one is better, A3 or A4, or even A5 is possible. And black take A4. So white's option at this position are maybe F8. F8 makes E8 square open, so white can move F8, then to E8. It sounds good. What are the other options? Maybe white B6 or B3? Anyway, white needs to take black upward, otherwise white cannot make good moves along those positions. Oh, another option may be E8. Okay, white played F8. So I would say this position is a typical double wall. Double wall means black's wall to the left side and white wall to the right side. It's separated to big two bunch of discs. And at this position, white needs to leads black to the right, and white needs to stay where he has many discs of the upwards and lightward. Maybe black C1 will work. Black C1, white E8, black D2. The question may be if it's good to take g8 at this point. It's a bit risky, but leaving the south edge and let the white to take c8 sounds also risky for black, because after white c8, c7 square is only possible move for white. So black g8 worth considering. If black doesn't play g8, we have every reason to believe white will take c8. So this is a very important point. Which one to take? g8 or d2? And Jacky made decision to let the white to take the south edge. It's difficult to evaluate the situation. It's almost even, or a bit better for black. Oh, this is good move, because if white takes d1, white will no longer have the c7 axis. That's why white didn't take d1 and took d1 instead. And black may f2. Yeah, f2 naturally. And white c7. There seems to be no other options. Black Jacky is considering maybe h4 or h3. If black moves to h4, white will move to b5. Yeah. At this position, white b5 flips e2 disk. It's an important point, because after white b5, if black plays to g4, now white have access to h5, because e2 disk is white at this point. But another thing white should consider is to leave e1 square only possible move for white. That means d2 and e2 should be kept black until the time white played to g2. to let the black to take h1 corner and white move to d1 afterwards. Matthias took that option. I think it's obviously good for black. When I see this consequence, maybe white should consider some other option at the move f8. Another burden for white is the south edge. It's so-called a bit too heavy position for white because there is a potential of b7 or g7 afterwards. I think it is good to take some time to choose which one is good at this point. Black g4 seems good enough, but black b6 is also possible. There is only one possible move left for white on the right edge. That's why moving to b6 worth considering at this position. But probably g4 seems better. After black g4, white will play to h5, black will take h6, white will play g6, black play h7, and taking the right edge in this way sounds good for black because black have c7 move left. That means white needs to take some moves to the left afterwards. Everybody with me? Black g4, white h5, black h6, white g6, black h7, white h3 or 2. Jacky seems to looking at some points around b6. Maybe obviously he's considering b6 or g4. Jack is now obviously pointing at b6. Everybody agree? I would ask him later what was on his mind at this point. On the other hand, Matthias make b6. So now Matthias' turn. Jacky seems to be confident with the b6 move. So how white should deal with this left edge? I guess a3 is possible, b3 as well. White a6? No, white a6, black a5, white a3, black b3, white a2. It's an unbalanced edge on the left side. It's not favorable for white. So the question is going to be, after white b3, black a3, then what? It's very difficult position for white. But in some way, white b3, black a3, white a7. Wow. Is it possible? It is almost the end of the mid-game. In other words, it's the beginning of the end game. It is very difficult point of the tunnel. Both players should think not only about to make a good position, but also have a winning line for sure winning. And generally speaking, the parity is on white side. So in the end game of white, everything is possible. The example of such everything is something like move z2. If white b3 and black a3, there may be one chance for white, because white b3, black a3, and white g2 seems possible. So I would recommend white to play b3. Matthias, what's your choice? I think he's obviously staring at b3 square. Wow, dialect c2. It's very interesting. I would recommend white b3, black a3, then to g2, because at some point afterwards, white take d1, and b3 is going to be a hotspot afterwards. And if black has an access to b3, white needs to relay the move by moving b3. But if white do that, and the white d1 exists, white needs to flip c2 disk. To avoid the jeopardy, white b3, black a3 seems to be essential. But it still is a very good game, cross game. Maybe black's intention to take h5 option is to make sure that black can play e1 before taking h1 corner, so that black can take the upper h. Instead of h5, if black plays to c4 instead, white will play h5, then black h6. Eventually black can play d1 anyway. But the difference between those two lines is black's shape of the right hand h. Jacky thought this is better than to take the g4, h4, g4, h5, h6, than to play the g5. So at this point, white may be able to play b6, I mean g6. White c6, black c4, and white d1, and force the black to take h1 disk, and then white h6, black h7. By moving g2, white should give up the upper edge. Giving up the upper edge should take some advantage on the left hand side. Oh, white b3. I thought white should play g6 before black's g4. After black g4, it will poison white move to g6. Yes, it's probably the best. White b3 seemed no good because at this point, if white played d1, white should flip c2. If it happens after black taking the upper edge, b1 square is going to be black's move. This one move difference is very big. If this position is black's turn, black may play to d1. So, oh, white h3. I was not thinking about this move. Maybe Jacky urged the possibility of the mistake, flip mistake, but it's a legal position, good position. It's an accurate position. It's okay. I think black should play d1,
下手すると白は18に出されてしまうんですよね。
but there is another option to leave the d1 disk empty, because white cannot take d1, because white d1 will flip c2 and d2, and there is going to be a swindle of the northeast edge, black h2 and h1. So white cannot play d1. That's why black can leave d1 square open at this point. But if black make a decision to leave the d1 square open, black needs to play some other place. So the question is, where is some other place? By thinking this way, finally black d1 sounds good for me. Black d1, and what white will play to g6. I think this way the black has a winning position. Maybe Jacky seems to have the same way. Afterwards, g6, black played g7. Splendid. The parity on the southeast. Maybe white should take h8. And if black played g8, white will play a3. White a3. Oh, it's dangerous. Because white a3 enables black to move a5 by flipping c3 move. That way white have no chance to take h8 corner. So my opinion is white should have taken h8 first. But let's see what happens. Now Jacky is trying to find the line. Yeah. Maybe white should play h6 or g8. Oh, b1. Hmm. There's no chance for white to take h6 corner. On the other hand, black has good line by playing h1, then to a1. And now Jacky start counting. Maybe there are two possible lines, starting with h1 or starting with h6. Yeah, but obviously h1 seems better. And white h2. Black a1 sounds good. By taking a look backwards, in the mid game white played f8 and black played c1. Afterwards black has been slightly better. Jacky seems confident about his winning. He's just counting. To get as many discs as he can. Maybe he's counting the line beginning with a2 and h8. Probably black should play a2 to make the diagonal black at the end. This way the diagonal ought to be white. Diagonal I mean it's a b2 to g7 diagonal. And the parity is white side. Parity is on white side.
で右下が4角になってますね。ここに白が話してないので、右下の手玉が黒が打つことになると思います。でもここで多分 H7 の手が黒が今ので
So, black Jacky Fu won against white Matthias.BERG. I think white have had one chance at some point in the mid game at around move 36 before moving to white g2. Let's take a closer look afterwards. Thank you very much for being with me.